territories go hunting together. Was that Jackson having a moment? It was, and it's going to open him up to attack from David Wall, 4th and 5th. We're on board with the Wilson Security Pace Porsche. Sydney-based team, Tim Miles has had a drama. Come back to that. Davison down the inside, couldn't get it done on his teammate. They're all defending, they're all side by side, and it's all for position.
Scrap City.
Look at Evans.
In front of this pack, Evans having to go defensive at turn 2.
Textbook defensive driving from Jackson Evans. Was in exactly the right point at every bit of the racetrack he needed to be to keep Wally behind him.
It's turned into the Nürburgring 24 out there as they work their way through the traffic. This is a battle for position up the road, which will make life even harder. They dive up the inside of Padearchi. That's a lapper in the Hyundai car falling back through the pack. And still Dalwood holds the lead of this motor race. Another car up the road, 2 more.
John Stephenson and Mark Sini it is. Replay, run to the hay shed. Oops. That's Tim Miles with his moment. Nicely evaded by Adam Garwood in behind.
Now, this will be interesting for John Stephenson because the former track and field star has never been lapped, really. So how does he play this one? He'll keep it on the left-hand side. Wood has to go the long way around, and he might be vulnerable. They're all on the dirty side of the racetrack.
This is awesome.
Great stuff in Carrera Cup as the 3-car battle for the lead continues. We've ticked past that new record mark. We've gone past lap 21, so this is now officially the longest solo drive. We're in uncharted territory for a set of Michelin tyres. The Sonic teammates, they're side by side.
Is that Love returning the serve on his teammate? Michael Armand got past him before. There's battles all the way through the field. Mark Sini, the next one to go a lap down. That awkward run to turn 1. He goes to the inside. That's going to be hurtful for Dylan O'Keefe. He's going to be offline.
He had to commit and get that done or he'd lose huge amounts of time. He maybe cost himself 1 or 2 car lengths.
It hurt Davison more. It hurt Alex more.
How about this pack? It's a traffic jam. And Moffat's the vulnerable one. They're all queuing up behind Stephenson. And this is the fight for 4th in the race at the moment. Side by side, Evans with Padearchi. Padearchi's the lapper. They send him back.
And it's really hurt Jackson Evans. Cost him massively, but somehow he's come out unscathed off the road.
This is going to end really badly for Moffat. If he comes back onto this racetrack, it could be a crunch.
Oh, wow.
Heart stopper.
That is that's heart-wrenching stuff. That was very nearly a crash. It just lost enough momentum sideways in the gravel. What about this motor race? Not quite sure how Jackson Evans is still 4th through all of that, because he was the first one getting to that group, and somehow he's held on. These 2 yellow, red and blue cars look really good. They've got great speed late in the race and they're attacking, but they just don't have track position to turn it into a great result. So it was all going swimmingly through lap traffic, and it's just all teed off. Dalwood still the leader. The margin's still less than a second. There's 3 to go. Look at this.
Wow. You're sitting at home thinking this looks familiar. And it's happened a few times in this part of the world. We've seen Davison and Whincup. We've seen Prema and Courtney.
James will be watching that in pit lane, cringing with his eyes shut. James Courtney, that is. James Moffat.
He might have had his eyes shut sideways. I think you're right, Krause. The front 3, amazingly, still in the same order. And incredibly, 4th and 5th also still in the same order. The only driver who's actually been displaced in the that was Moff. Amazing. And if the Michelin tyres weren't hurting before,
they are now.
They'll all be like chewing gum.
It actually hasn't cost James Moffat all that much. He's recovered in 9th because that leading 9-car group had pulled away so hard. Armand with dramas.
And this is exactly what we're talking about. The tyres have had it. And Armand's the first to cough up a spot. Loses one to his teammate under brakes at turn 4, gathered it up nicely, and only loses that 1 spot. He might be vulnerable, though, to Nick McBride before race end.
So with Moffat, because that group of 9 cars just driven away from everybody else, all locked together, Moffat had that huge margin and dropped 4 spots. So usually that's race-ending kind of stuff. So we're about to start the final lap. The top 3 cars locked together. There'll be 4.5 Ks to go to sort this out. And if Dalwood can hold on and win this one, it'll be one of his great drives, because he has been under pressure from lap 1 of the 24 we've completed so far.
We'll be nearing 40 minutes race distance at the end of this one. There's 1 to go. Still plenty of battles to watch out for. The 3-car fight for the lead is one of them. And that's where we are right now. 4 and a bit Ks to go for Dale Wood. And he'll be able to go home at the end of today. If he holds on to this motor race, very, very happy. This will go down as one of the greatest wins of his career if he can hang on to it.
What a race. The format has worked a treat. The combination of the longer races, the tyre wear, the car's really moving around. The lap traffic has been the ace card in this one.
They've only lost a second in lap speed.
And the other interesting thing, Anthony Gilbertson's lost the lead in Tag Heuer Pro-Am. So through all of that, unseen by us, Max Twiggs got through. So Gilbo must have had an off somewhere because he was 4 seconds up the road. But he's lost that, and the triple champion in that class is now up to 11th outright and leading the class.
There's one more genuine passing opportunity if they're close enough. We've seen Alex Davison aggressive at turn 10. Is O'Keefe close enough to have a crack at Dale Wood? Is Davison close enough to have a crack at Dylan O'Keefe? Let's answer those questions as we go over Lukey Heights.
They're big questions to answer as well. It's Davison who has a go. He sends it on his teammate down the inside. That's his textbook move in this race. Hustles O'Keefe wide, goes to second. And that'll be the victory for Dale Wood. Clear racetrack. It'll be his 5th win of the season. He's 2nd in the championship. He'll take a big chunk of points out of the leader, Jackson Evans. This has been one of his great drives.
Checkers are up. And that is the race of the season so far in Porsche Wilson Security Carrera Cup Australia. Highly entertaining from lap 1 to lap 25. And to say that was a lights to flag victory for Dale Wood just doesn't do it justice. It was an absolute pearler of a race.
The results,
Davison and O'Keefe, your top 3.
The result sheet, you look at that and will not describe even a tenth of what occurred over 25 laps. They went to full distance. Jackson Evans holds on to 4th place, so only gives away 27 points of his 71-point championship lead to this guy. A brilliantly well-judged drive. So the conservative way he was driving that car early in the race paid off at the end because he had enough to fight and enough to defend when the attacks came from Dylan O'Keefe and then Alex Davison. Terrific motor race.
The longest